Hello. Maegan Megginson here. I am starting a new segment and I'm really excited to try it out and share it with you. It's called Let's Go Outside. Why? Because a couple times a week I try really hard to go outside and to be with the land and be with my thoughts and specifically just tune in to what wisdom and information is on offer to me as I look around about my life, about my business, and reliably, I get some really good ideas and clarity, and I feel grounded, I feel regulated. And I just think going outside is one of the absolute best things we can do for ourselves and for our businesses. So every week, I am going to take you outside with me. And I'm going to show you what I'm seeing and share what I'm thinking about in the hopes that it inspires something important for you too. And this week, I want to talk about contraction. I have been thinking a lot about contraction over these winter months, and specifically the contraction that we see in the plants and in the trees in the fall going into the winter. Not all plants, of course, right? We have the evergreens that stay lush and thriving all year round, right next to these other trees and bushes that pull all of their energy down into their roots. And it reminds me of how we all experience winter differently as people and as business owners, and how some winters there's really deep contraction where we are called to pull all of our energy down into our roots, and how there are some winters that feel really creative and prolific where we stay green. And there are some times when we experience the contraction of winter when it's not winter. Maybe you're experiencing a contraction in the middle of summer. But what really calls to me about the wisdom here of contraction is that it's such a normal part of the growth process. And that really good growth in life and in business comes after seasons of contraction. Seasons where we are really intentionally pulling all of our energy down deep into our roots as we grow, change, evolve, and are reborn into something new, something more mature, something different. And I know that this is really challenging because obviously we live in a capitalist patriarchy that wants us to stay green and thriving and producing fruit all the time, 24/7. And that's just, it's not real. It's not life. That's not nature. And being here right now, I'm currently in rural Virginia, standing in a field, looking around, and I'm just reminded that death and contraction are a really necessary part of life and of the creative cycle as business owners. I have been in a long season of contraction personally as a business owner. And I don't want to confuse that with constriction, which I feel like is when we're acting more out of a trauma response and we're cutting ourselves off, right? We're like squeezing the life force out of ourselves. We're constricting because we're scared, because we're nervous, because we're burnt out, right? Constriction is so different from contraction. I'm looking at this bush and this tree and these wild vines, and I'm like, they're not constricting. Well, I don't know, actually. Maybe as I look closer, some of these wild vines are perhaps constricting these trees, choking the life force out of them. I don't want to constrict as a creative person, as a business owner. I don't want to constrict. But I do want to contract. Because again, this contraction is like, let's find a tree that's contracting. Here, look at this guy. This newer growth. Obviously, this new growth is in a period of contraction. It's calling its energy down into its roots so that it can grow into something else. And that's what's on my mind right now, is this reminder that contraction is normal and necessary, and that it is very different from constriction. And it really gets me thinking about where in my life I am constricting and what I can do to stop doing that. and where in my life I'm contracting, and what I can do to really nurture and support the contraction. And also, there's a lot of breeze out here. There's stirrings happening. We're at the 2 weeks away from spring equinox right now, and as I look around in this beautiful field, I can see the stirrings of life. The sun is out. This is the first time it's been warm and sunny in weeks, and it reminds me that new growth is coming and life is coming, and there's another reflection question right there. Where am I ready to bloom and to blossom and to fruit and to grow something new? And what choices can I make over the coming weeks to really nurture that? So, contraction, constriction, what's real for you? What's alive? Where are you contracted? Where are you constricting? And where are you excited about the stirrings of spring? Thanks for coming outside with me, and I'll see you again next week.